G'day everyone, it's Turbo Tristan here and welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be all about the Honda Nats and me taking my Civic Bois, which I spent the last sort of 6 to 12 months building just for this event. And things didn't go so well. So make sure you stick around to the end of the video when I explain what the issues were and what happened to me. Needless to say that I have been G'd up for Honda Nats since I went there last year. It's a really, really good event. Winton is an amazing track and it's one of the, it might even be the most technical track in Victoria that's not a hill climb or anything like that. It's not a very big track and there's heaps of off camber and corners that are going to catch you off guard. Most, particularly the tits and the sweeper, which sort of has a bit of a double apex. It's sort of nice sweeper bend and then it tightens up and then it changes direction again. I've made a lot of changes to this car. I've only driven it once in anger, which was at Sandown, and I beat my PB by 2 seconds, as was pointed out, but closer to 3. I was feeling confident that I'd run a pretty good time. You may or may not be able to see it in the footage, so apologies in advance, but almost every car in my field, so Group E between 12 and 20, I reckon at least half of them spun out on track. 2 spun out in front of me, and I went past a mate of mine, Curtis, that also spun out. I could see in the distance all the way around the track, there was quite a few cars that had spun out, so I managed to just drive slow and not spin out, so you'll see that here. So just enjoy the next couple of minutes of me learning my car at this track and learning the track. So with a time of 1:45, it's around about 5 seconds a lap faster than we were with Ronda. We've got the LSD, we've got more power, and the car's lighter. And it's my second time here, so we should have shaved quite a few seconds off. Now, I did go out for a second session, and this is where things started to go wrong. I did a bunch of back-to-back 1-minute 45s whilst still warming up the car. And then I noticed that my power levels were down. My VTEC kept cutting in and out. I kept getting an engine light flash on and off the dash. My dash came back on, so I could see what everything was doing. It was driving fine. Everything was fine with the tune, but I was losing power and the dash light was flicking on and off. I didn't film that one because I didn't hear my call for my session, which was the second session of the day. I just saw cars lining up, so I just ran out there and I didn't have time to reach all the way back and grab the camera and switch it on. Once I'm strapped in that seat, you really can't move anywhere besides to steering wheel, gear shifter. But I did a number of back-to-back 145s, even though I was down on power. My buddy Curtis was embarrassing me because he was doing 145s in his bog stock second gen CRX with a D16. He was doing the same time as I was in this powerhouse. So that was embarrassing for me, and he's a really, really experienced driver at this track and just in general. He's got all types of cars, really cool dude. He missed out on getting a trophy by a hair, but then the next day he went back out there and smashed that. So well done, Curtis. Made a very good job. I was very proud of you. And I look forward to doing a little bit more work on your car in the future. And then you can really smash me. And then once I get good, we can go head to head. What you're gonna see here next is Kenny from Elusive Racing brought down 2 cars. First car he brought down, Andy was driving most of the day. Shout out Andy, he was killing it. In the improved production prepped 2-litre Honda Civic EG with a K20, making around about 145 kilowatts, tuned by Dyno Dave, and that thing was amazing. So those guys were driving that all day. Kenny was having a go, Andy was having a go, just absolutely amazing. It's probably heavier than my car, being that it's got all the steel panels and a full weld-in cage with bars everywhere. So I'm tipping it probably weighs the same or more than my carbon EK. It has a lot less power. I'm at 170 on full power, it was on 145. So quite a big difference in power and torque. I've got a 2.4, that's a 2-litre. So what you're about to see is a testament to Elusive Racing's build and Kenny driving, and also Andy was doing similar times all day as well. When I was in the car, you add my weight, which is over 90 kilos. So let's jump to the footage and we'll cut back to my thoughts after I jump out of the car in just a moment. So I've just jumped out of the elusive 2-litre EG. As a passenger, my breath gone. We did like a 134, which is still, they've gone quicker. So with the passenger and my extra weight in the car, slowing him down, but man, you would have seen I was trying to hold the camera and like try keep it level. The car was actually sliding and drifting and like lift off oversteer, and then with the LSD just powering down, and Kenny was actually holding a drift. It might not come across on the camera, but the car was dancing and drifting. We did turn 3 and 4, basically was one big drift, and then onto the big sweeper. Wasn't really a drift, but it was at the limit of its tires, which it has really awesome tires. We were flying through there. And then the two tits, just like, he was pushing it a lot harder, and then modulating the brake pedal down to turn 11, I think it is. Absolutely wild. Freaking, yeah, it just goes to show how much I have to learn and how much more development I have to do to this car to make it that fast. But first I've got to do the biggest mod, which is the driver mod. Yeah. Elusive Racing sure know how to build a fast track car. And Kenny's actually jumped straight out of that, jumped straight into his DC2R turbo track car, and he just hot lap, just didn't even change nothing, just jumped straight in from one car to the next. So straight back out. But let's take a look at this. This is the car I was just out in. And my God. Yokohama Advan 8050. Intima pads all around. PCI wing. Full cage. Alrighty, so the highlight of the event for me, considering that my car broke, was actually going out in the elusive EG. Now this car is a K20, tuned by Dyno Dave. So the guys in the know Dyno Dave. And it is a K20, it is built. So they tell me there's a ton more left in this, even though it doesn't really need it because everything else is optimized, but the torque and the way this is delivered so smooth, it's absolutely amazing. So they're doing this car because they want to use it for improved production, or IPRA. All of these parts, they're their own parts. This is their shop car. Everything that's on the shelf, they carry all these parts in stock on the shelf at Elusive. The Porsche brakes and the standard rear discs, as I said before, Advan A050s. They even keep these in stock. That's the only weight saving on the car. Still has all the glass all the way around. But yeah, just an amazing setup. Suspension, brakes, everything. Motec dash. It's an absolute mission to get in just this little gap you've got here to get through. And they're quite tight seats. So they didn't really fit me that well because I'm not as not a small guy. This was definitely a highlight of the weekend, just seeing what speed feels like and what going fast feels like. We didn't break any records, but a 134 is by far the fastest I've been around here. It's over 10, it's 11 seconds quicker than what my car can do, even though mine makes more power, and it's might even be lighter with all the carbon and, you know, not the full cage. There's a lot less metal in my car. But yeah, 11 seconds quicker than what I was doing is mind-blowing. Just to feel that, definitely the highlight of the weekend, and that's what Honda Nats is all about. and I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to jump in with Kenny and take this car for a rip, because man, it's really inspired me to, number one, learn how to drive, and number two, spend a bit more money on different things around the car, such as tires and suspension. So, but number one is learn to drive a mod, because the way Kenny drove that car, perfectly in control whilst being on the limits of out of control the whole time. We did a couple of warm-up laps, that's why it's jolting everywhere, and you can see him swerving left and right to get some heat in the tires, stomping the brakes to get the brakes to heat the wheels, to heat the tires, just so there's full grip before he goes full send. And I couldn't hear him at the time, but he was trying to just use the EGNA car to attack the sweeper, just to get a better feel and do some testing on the different lines on the sweeper. So that's why it's a little bit all over the place. This car is built to meet all of the specifications of Improved Production Racing Australia, so IPRA, and Kenny has indicated to me that he's going to be jumping in a few rounds here and there for a bit of fun and casual door-to-door racing, not competitive. He's not going to go for the title. Knowing Kenny, this might go from a little bit of fun and a casual race to a full-blown competitive competition in the 2026 season. Who knows where that's going to lead to. He's indicated to me that he wants to do some casual, fun, improved production racing. So let's see how that goes, and wish Kenny good luck in the 2025 season. I had a chance to sit down for lunch with Grant at Holden, and he explained a few things to me, and he urged me, you know, stop spending money, stop changing things, get the car, get on track, get seat time. Seat time is most important. And I got some really great advice from Dean, the owner of the event, Honda Nationals. And that was, rather than buy the best tires and the best suspension and all the best mods, go out with your crappy suspension and your average tires and get some seat time. And the theory behind that is, if you are driving on a higher tread wear, so a harder tire that slides more, you'll be learning to pick the correct line, the correct car control, and that's going to help you, rather than, he made a great point, if you put the best, stickiest, softest tires on the car, you can pretty much drive anywhere on the track and the car's going to grip and the car's going to turn. So you could pick a bad line every time with your really sticky tires and pull yourself out of it. The car's not going to slide, the car's not going to go off course, it's going to stay wherever you put it. Whereas if you're on some harder, more slippery tires, it's really important you pick the correct line, you know your car, and you know how to drive through it. So I'm going to take that advice on board, and we're going to stay with this type of a tire, 200 and over tread wear tire, and just learn the car more. The driver mod is the most amazing thing. My times got beaten by a Honda Jazz, which was driven by Grant at Holden. He did the 144, I did a 145. I probably make close to 100 kilowatts more than he does in a Jazz. And I've got fully independent suspension all the way around, where he's got a beam suspension. So that is testament to the setup from the boys at Holden, plus also the driver mod, and just all of those things coming together just to show you what someone can do in a less powerful, less equipped car with much more skill. So that is the most important takeaway. It doesn't matter what car you have, get some track time. You don't need to spend money on mods. As a matter of fact, don't spend any money on mods, just make it leak-free, fresh tires, fresh brakes, full tank of fuel, and a service, and get out on track and have some experience, have some fun. Alrighty, so let's talk about what happened to my car and why I only got 2 sessions. So the first thing, there was an issue with battery voltage. So my alternator's possibly on the way out. That might be because my battery in the boot actually died. The way it died was it actually, the G-forces having a regular car battery, a regular lead acid battery, sloshing around, and the heat and everything and the vibrations, it cracked the seal and acid went out of the battery and probably ran it almost dry. That cooked things, you guys know I'm not an electrical engineer, but that made some issues with my battery voltage. So that didn't help things at all. When I came in after my second session, there was a rattle coming from inside my rocker cover. So we did a few tests. Some guys thought maybe it was a tensioner. I was fingers crossed hoping that's all it was. So we pulled the belt off, we started the car. The noise, the rattle was still definitely coming from the motor. So I took the cover off, had a look inside. Everything looked great until I looked down the side here and I could see the chain was on the exhaust cam, the chain was on the intake cam, and I could see it was running all the way down the engine, all perfectly in line. It was a little bit of slack, so it was a bit floppy. I looked on the other side, so the back of the engine where the chain guide runs, and I could see it was kicked off to the side slightly. The reason for this is brand new OEM chain, brand new OEM guides, and a brand new OEM chain tensioner was installed. Because I'm running aftermarket camshafts, which is a stage 2, which is the most aggressive ones you can get whilst still having VTEC, it's pretty tough on the chain tension of the OEM factory one. If you're running an OEM cam or a stage 1, you don't really need to change anything. Your OEM chain tensioner should do the job according to all sources, both friends with experience and also the internet. 3 days before the event I went down to Elusive Racing and I grabbed the Bee's Knees Piste de Resistance, the hybrid racing dual ratchet heavy duty chain tensioner, and I installed it up on the hoist. I pulled the T7 Designs inspection plate off, pulled out the 2 bolts whilst holding the chain guide in place, and then I just swapped it over quickly, pulled the pin, did up the bolts, all that sort of stuff, and I ran the car. It sounded mint, it was beautiful, it was purring like a kitten, it was amazing. Took the car for a drive, it drove fantastic, didn't lose any time, everything was great. There was an installation error or something, I've done something wrong. It's definitely not the tensioner, it's definitely not the components, they're all brand new. Whether I didn't torque it down flush against the block properly or something, but you could see the chain is coming down the guide, and it's kicked the guide off, the plastic off the guide, and it's kicked the chain out. So it's going over the exhaust cam, over the intake cam, around the engine, under the crank, and it's getting to the chain tensioner section, and then that is kicking it off, and then it's jumping back onto its tracks again. I don't think it's harmed the engine in any way. It actually runs and drives just fine, which is amazing. Testament to K is the way. It's at the point where, because of that chain slack, the variable cam timing is not working because it doesn't have the tension on the chain. The voltage was stopping the VTEC coming on, so I was losing quite a lot of power. And it just wasn't a good idea to keep driving the car. So I just put everything back together, left the car on display for the day, and spoke to tons of you guys, tons of fans and just people that have seen the build online or subscribers to the channel. So that was really great to see, great to get out there and talk to everyone and meet everyone. I met quite a number of guys from Sydney, some guys that have inspired me that race the super touring or the 2-litre touring cars or improved production or any of those things. So that was fantastic, you know, just to get to meet all those guys and the guys from WA and just everyone in general, and seeing some friends of mine and just having a good day hanging out. So it wasn't a total loss. I would have loved to finish the whole day and do a sub 1 minute 40, but hey, there's always next year, and we've got to do that driver mod. If the driver mod works out, maybe it'll be mid-30s, who knows? But that's very optimistic. The driver mod is very, very important, and anyone that thinks they can drive on the street and then they want to go to a track and compete with the big boys, really, really big difference in skill level, car control, all those things. So very, very important, and I couldn't recommend seat time enough. Well, that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming to Honda Nats, and it was great to meet all you guys that saw me there. Until next time, we're going to leave this car. I've got some other jobs which you can sort of see. There's a teaser up on the hoist, new build coming to the channel. I'm partially the way through it, so it's going to be nice and quick from here on. Been filming for a few weeks now. So I'm just going to push this car in and out of the garage and not touch it until the car above is pretty much sorted. And then I'll pull the engine, do the timing, put a new chain on it and some new chain guides, and we should be good to send it and then get out on the track. So I hope everyone enjoys the footage. Shout out to Kenny for taking me for a drive, Dean for putting on the event, Grant for all the tips, and just amazing, guys. Well done, everyone that managed to survive the day. There was quite a few breakages at the Honda Nationals this year, a few last minute pullouts, but we still had a full field, lots of action and adventure. And yeah, it was just a crazy day. It was good to see all the Hondas just absolutely killing it. I learned a lot, and yeah, just amazing. So thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget, spool up, bring the boost. Going to be a discount code here for spool up, which is valid until the end of September, and that is for the Honda Nats people. So I'm going to give that to you guys as well, the viewers. So jump on spoolup.com.au, help support me. I need money to fix this thing. So let's sell some parts and get back out on the track. Cheers.